Assalamualaikum and good day to everyone. My name is Ahmad Munawwir Hamdi. I'm from BMMP, Energy and Process at University Technical Malaysia, Melaka. Okay, today I want to present about my bachelor degree project 2 in this semester, which is my title is investigation on the strength of a machining waste Kevlar interply composite for an anti-step protection panel. So in this project, that helped me to finish this project, which is my supervisor, technologist Dr. Nizam bin Hashim. Okay, we proceed to. Okay, first of all, for the introduction of my project is police and military protection body armor. It's largely based on Kevlar fabric, which is aims to protect the wearer against the bullet. So, in the majority of cases, pure Kevlar textile have no proof properties for staking, but linen composites show good step insulation with other options that show good results. So, maybe more than bullet penetration is a function for many parameters, including the sharpness of for the blade and geometry, the angle and the speed. So, the second one, in this new era of globalization, consumers have been very steadily aware of new products from renewable resources. So, green marketing, new recycling guidelines, social influence, and perceived value changes have resulted in consumers turning to environmentally friendly product. So, in line in this project, so based on my opinion, EDM wire cut waste can be useful for recycling as a reinforcement material for my project. So, the materials forming the soft panel for the bulletproof jacket play an important role in this regard. So, many companies manufacture the body armor using any composite besides the Kevlar. So, many developers manufacture the body armor using any composite besides Kevlar, such as fiber reinforced polymer, scissor fiber, woven cloth, woven fabric, woven glass, and carbon aramid. From this research, the developer target to maintain strength and lower the cost of manufacturing body armor by using any waste material or renewable resources in order to help adapt the innovation of technology for in this era. Okay, proceed to our main objective in this our project. So for the first objective in this my project is to fabricate new laminated glass matrix composite which is reinforced by West EDM brass wire and um, carbon Kevlar fabric. So and the second one is to determine the strength performance of the composites using tensile testing. So in the last for my objective is to define the prediction formula for an anti-step protection panel strength using Microsoft Excel. So proceed to the next slide is okay. Another main important in this project is a problem statement to doing any research. You have to conduct and know about the problem. So which is my problem statement is throughout the period in this century, the army and the police are required to put on the body armor while on duty to prevent any serious injury or possibility of being stabbed. So body armor is a major armor that exists in Malaysia, does not change the concept of body armor for nearly 10 years and needs improvement in terms of its cost and mobility. So this project was aimed to solve the problem through the creation of an additional body armor design to manufacture a new laminar hybrid interply carbon Kevlar reinforced by some material which is a wire cut waste by EDM. So furthermore, using waste material which is a brass wire will cut the cost of production of body armor. So in this case, wire cut waste cannot be reused for any application unless we melt. So we use the wire cut as a reinforcement material for our project. Okay, for the scope of the research, which is a limit for this project, which is this project will concentrate on the production of new interply hybrid composite, which is reinforced by carbon Kevlar and a wire cut waste. So, meantime, the carbon Kevlar and some resin, this new compound will be created. So, furthermore, this new hybrid composite will be created in three different layers, which is a 3, 5, and 7 layer of composite. After that, this composite will be tested by using tensile testing and analyze and compare to between all the samples using a Microsoft Excel graph. So, UTS is used to monitor the strength of the composite. Okay, for the second topic is my literature review for my project. So, this chapter overview for the properties and behavior of hybrid matrix composite laminate. The properties of brass wire mesh and carbon Kevlar are compared with other reinforcement composites. Besides that, the fabrication and testing related to the wire mesh and carbon Kevlar reinforcement are also been discussed in this chapter. So, for the first subject I want to discuss is about the composite. So composite are categorized in terms of the content of the substance and the filler. So the basic substance that binds or holds in structure the fill material is known as a matrix or a binding material. So the great composite characteristics such as the high stiffness, elevated strength, low density, excellent temperature stability, high electric and thermal conductivity. This was quote by Gautam et al. In 2018. So, interestingly, composite might exert an effect like the rapid force of a gunshot, for instance, or the explosive boom. So, composite are therefore jets and are utilized to protect airplanes, buildings, and military vehicles from explosive in bulletproof jets and step panel. So, in combination with natural fibers, synthetic fibers to produce good mechanically effective hybrid construction. So, the composite elements should not react to one another at high temperature, which lead to early composite failure discovered by Sharma in 2019. Okay, so furthermore, it's necessary for a suitable matrix material to penetrate between fiber and to establish a strong surface bond. So it is also important for there to be no chemical reaction between the matrix material and the fibers are not the fiber damaged by the matrix material. So from the composite, there are three major types of composite depending on the matrix type, which is a polymer composite matrix, ceramic matrix composite, and a composite metal matrix. So in this project, focus to in categorize in a polymer matrix composite. So polymer matrix composite can be found in almost every aspect of modern life, from gadget component to a wide range of automotive accessory, for example. Polymers are often made up of carbon and hydrogen branches that are chemically linked together to form a chain, as their name suggests. Okay, so we proceed to the next slide. Okay, for the next point is on the chain of the composite. In this project, we focus the type of reinforcement is a carbon Kevlar and a wire cut waste itself. So the matrix keeps the strengthening of the desired shape, even though the enhancement will enhance the matrix properties. So the composite elements should not react to one another at high temperature, which lead to early composite failure discovered by Sharma. So in this project, our focus is a carbon Kevlar itself. So carbon Kevlar is a term that refers to composite laminates that contain a mix of carbon and Kevlar fibers for reinforcement. So a hybrid carbon Kevlar fabric will allow the two types of fibers to appear in one single thin layer of fabric instead of two alternating threads of each fiber in both directions, saving weight and reducing cost. So in other application, only one fiber can run in the wave direction while the other runs in the warp direction. So this type of luminaire will have carbon properties in one direction and Kevlar or aramid properties in the other. So anisotropy is a term used to describe the effect of special composite. In most composite application, the anisotropy effect is highly valued. As you can see in the figure at the right of my slide, you can see this type of composite is woven by the Kevlar fiber and the carbon fiber using woven method. So this fabric will be used in our project. Okay, for the next topic in this literature review, I do research about anti-step panel. So anti-step panel is which is defined. Personal armor is a general phrase used to describe personal protective equipment which is an individual uses or carries to stop projectile absorption into the human body by Lewis in 2017. So this anti-step panel can overcome for any hazardous job. He said the armed force and police most frequently employ personal armor, but other users are first responder, for example fire and ambulance workers and security specialists. So the test research on ballistic armor has been conducted for more than 200 years. However, there is a large amount of empirical and theoretical work on the topic, even if the penetrating mechanics of high speed projectiles are not entirely understood. So in the subject, knife armor, at least in part, there are several helpful studies. Ballistic body armor contains two forms of soft body armor and hard body armor to guard against arms attack. So the armor of a soft body can be carried over on uniform or under a uniform, which is called the hidden armor. So in addition, the workforce protection performance comfort requirements should also be considered while selecting armor for correctional officers, law enforcement and security officers. So the step panel, which is the denser the fabric, the thicker it is. So as I can say that numerous study, research method and materials have been developed over time to build competent anti-step panels inside body armor to protect projectile and stabbing. So simultaneously, the design obtains a lightweight panel that is relatively conventional to the user when he or she moves. There are two types of anti-step panel, which is soft and hard. So other than that, hard body armor was constructed of metals such as iron and steel or a combination of metal. So in order to strengthen the sustain, hard body armor is frequently hybridized with ceramic, metal or plastic plates. So recently, hard body armor have been developed that is both light in weight and excellent in performance to defend the user from a wide range of threats. So it's made of variety of material including ceramic or composite. So we proceed to the next point. So in this project, our focus in testing, which is a tensile testing. So tensile testing is a constraint on the nature of the structure. The type of material is the most important thing to declare when designing a composite structure. Many researchers use the American Society for Testing and Materials, which is a ASTM standard to create the tensile test specimen. The ASTM D3039 is a specification is the most popular tensile testing standard for continuous high modulus reinforced polymer matrix composite that we are focused in this project. So in this testing, the machine which is called a universal testing machine will be used for tensile performance. So these composites are made of polymer materials that contain reinforcing fibers and metric materials such as epoxy, polyamide and thermoplastic such as PEEK, which is tensile testing entails repairing the specimen in the unit with the proper tools and applying the tensile load until the fracture occurs. So the tensile force is also measured as the gauge length increases. Also, there are results of the tensile test observed by Dixon, which is a significant increase in the mechanical strength obtained by the introduction of the fiber matrix polymer. Okay, we proceed to our methodology process in this project. So, this chapter explains the methodology of the project, including the process that will be concentrated in this chapter, which is fabrication of the composite, tensile testing, and data analysis using Microsoft Excel. So, this project involves material selection and experimental setup as well as analysis. The reason for this methodology is to ensure the progress of the research is on the right track. So the work procedures and procedures are carried out accordingly. So the experiment procedures are designed based on the concept for the scope of the research, so the objective can be achieved. So we explain for the next slide, which is details about the methodology process. For the first point is a fabrication of the composite. Okay, this in this slide I want to tell about the details of the fabrication of the composite. So in this project, three type of the composite, which is the different layer, which is 3, 5, and 7 layer of the composite. For the first step is prepare the material, which is EDM wire cut waste and the carbon Kevlar fiber. So the first material is wire cut waste, is the cut into the short fiber length to ease the process of the to apply for the composite, which is the separate the fiber with the resin together. So after that, in this layer arrangement, uh, as you can see in this slide, this is the pattern of the layer arrangement of this composite. All the type of the composite the same pattern, which is different layers. So laminate it respective together, which is a normal method. So lay out sequence of the brass wire waste and Kevlar with some resin to laminate it together. In this process, the method to mold composite, which is a hand layout, which is the mold size is 210 mm times 147 mm. So for the first layer, using roller for carbon Kevlar fabric sprayed with the resin to avoid the fabric form, move and stand still in the mold. After that, the process of spread the wire cut waste into its core, and after that repeat the same process, which is apply resin with the carbon Kevlar fabric. So after that, I let it cool around 24 hours to make a perfect composite combinations. Okay, after that, after all of the composite are done into the fabrication process, before proceed to the testing, there's all of the sample, which is a 3 layer, 5 layer, and 7 layer of the composite, will be cut using a CNC laser cut machine for specific dimension for testing, which is 147 mm times 18 mm, which is proceed accordingly with the ASTM standard D3039 for the tensile process tensile testing for the composite materials. So in the tensile testing, five specimens for each 3 different layer of composite will be tested to obtain an average tensile strength and or the tensile performance for all the composite. So after that, the data will be obtained and compare tensile performance of all of the composites. Okay, okay. After we done about our process of experimental procedure, we proceed to our result and the discussion. So, for the result of the fabrication of the composite, 3 different layers of the composite have been obtained, which is a 3, 5 and 7 layer of the composite. Due to the layer arrangement, composites so thickness affected by their layers. For example, as you can see in this picture, for the 3-layer composite, which is the thickness of the composite is 5 mm, while the 5-layer composite is 8 mm, and the 7-layer composite is 10 mm for the thickness. So, in this process, I use the ratio of 45 gram of wire cut per layer, which is the another layer, which is a 5-layer and the 7-layer, times 45 gram of wire cut per layer. So this is the example of the characteristic of the visual of my composite. Okay, after the fabrication is complete, before proceeding to testing, as you can see in this picture, the sample has been cut using CNC laser cut machine into 147 mm times 18 mm dimension. So after that, each of the sample, which is 5 sample, each of the specimen will be tested. So based on the data obtained, the highest number of layer main factors in tensile performance, which is of the composite is 93.33 megapascal and 7.93 kilonewton of mass force for 7-layer composite. So based on the data, the the highest the number of thickness, the highest of the tensile strength it obtained. So the speed for the tensile testing, that based on an STM standard, which is 5 mm to test the composite materials. And after that, as you can see in this graph, this is the graph, the comparison between of the tensile strength and the max force for the all type of the composite. So based on the graph, the thickness is a main factor to the performance of the tensile for the composite. Okay, after the data was obtained, which is a tensile performance of all the composite, and the final objective is to achieve the best strength to apply on the anti-step protection panel. A linear equation was obtained using Microsoft Excel. So, uh, as you can see, this is a graph of to obtain a linear equation formula, which is a linear equation graph has been obtained. So, by using the formula of linear equation, y which mx plus c is used in Microsoft Excel, which is y subjected as predicted tensile strength, and x for the numbers of layers that to apply the accordingly with the tensile strength. So by the number of layer tensile strength as variable. So in this project, I predicted tensile strength to use and apply in anti-step protection panel is 140 megapascal. So based on my research, 140 megapascal is a mean tensile strength for the composite to apply in anti-step field. So as you can see in this formula, so the result was which is we put the 140 megapascal as a y, and we get the result for the 5 based on the graph. 5 is equal to 11 layers of the composite. So as we can predict on the result, the specific number of layers required to obtain the predicted tensile strength of the composite is 11 layers for the composite, which is a reinforcement by carbon Kevlar and the wire cut waste. So numerous studies show that as penetration increases, thickness increases. So do the fabric density. So the thickness of the composite plays an important role to absorb more energy while fracture in the tensile testing. Okay, last but not least, this is for the conclusion and recommendation for further study in this project. So after all of this project, all the objective in this research has been achieved, which is an interpolai laminar composite reinforced by thermoset matrix were successfully produced and tested in tensile testing. So, based on my recommendation for further study, they should further study using the higher strength that absorb more energy to apply in anti-static field, such as knot fiber or jute fiber to use in this further study. The second one is apply a wire cut waste in long fiber length, which is in our project we use as short fiber length to spread in the composite. After this, I recommend to use a dimension in long fiber length to the wire cut waste. Finally, the most important thing for the anti-stab protection panel, um, everything composite that produce or they manufacture for the first time that used to apply in the anti-stab testing must be used anti-stab testing that should be carried out, which is followed by a standard of National Waste Justice (NIJ). So that's all my presentation for my bachelor degree project. Thank you.